Hi everybody, welcome back for another video. I know you're wondering what in the world is this video about. It's obvious that I've got some alcohol there.
So it's not really well known, but back hundreds of years back, alcohol was the primary drink. You drank alcohol, you did not drink water because it was sterile. The alcohol kept anything from growing in it. Everyone was then always a little bit inebriated with the alcohol. There was a lot of fighting and violence. There was wars. And I'm sure the alcohol had at least some role to play in a lot of the violence of the day. But the coffee bean and coffee farming and caffeine all came along. We then had an industrial revolution. People got along. They worked in factories. They worked in assembly lines, and people encouraged coffee breaks. So coffee really had a big benefit on society, but there is a downside as well. I'm going to talk to you in this video about alcohol and caffeine, and I just want to explain how careful we need to be when we're dealing with mind-altering chemicals.
I just wanted to make a comment or two about alcohol and making good decisions and your judgment and your health and preparedness for more than 5 decades. And it'll probably be surprising to you, but I can tell you honestly that I have never drank alcohol, except I have drank a few sips of wine here or there, but I have never drank alcohol recreationally like most people think of it. And I just want to let you know my reasoning. And it's part because of your reasoning. Your brain has to make decisions, and it has parts of your brain that function to have reason and judgment. And I knew very early on when I was a teenager and people were talking about drinking that these guys had no business drinking. Their judgment was already not up to par from my perspective. And so I think a lot of your problems in life come from bad judgment, bad decisions. And if you compound that by drinking or drinking regularly, you're cumulatively going to expose yourself to potential situations where there's going to be a potential for violence. There's going to be potential to do something that's going to get you in trouble, and that will be with you the rest of your life. And those are not decisions that you should take lightly when you're young. And as you get older and older, the decision making is not so much about ruining the rest of your life, but it's more about how do I stay healthy and how do I protect my body. You have to realize that this is ethanol. This is a substance that has to be detoxified by your body. It's the toxic alcohol that is impairing your brain function, and it has to be cleared, and it requires liver enzymes to detoxify and flush it out. And you all know the routine. I fortunately have never had to deal with that because that's not part of my life. And I just want you to know that no matter how you think about it, there's no redeeming value to alcohol. And there even have been studies that were at one point suggested that drinking a glass of wine was good for you. And those have been debunked over time. The science has caught up, and they're now, it's very clear that there is no good, valid reason to drink alcohol. If you're drinking, you really don't need to be doing it. There's no reason to start. And so this is not a message of anything related to anything other than preparedness. How do I be the most prepared to defend myself? How do I be the most prepared to make good quality decisions in my life? Because one bad decision at a critical juncture of your life can put you on a completely different trajectory and change your life. My only drug of choice is caffeine, and I only get that in moderation.
Go!
Now let me really hit you where it hurts. Caffeine. So many sources of caffeine that we can get every day. This is not one that many people abstain from because they consider it harmless, but you think about it. Unlike alcohol, which is essentially suppressing part of your thinking and your reasoning, we drink caffeine because it stimulates our mind. Caffeine is a drug that blocks adenosine receptors. Blocks adenosine from binding to adenosine receptors, which makes us tired and sleepy. And caffeine prevents that, so we stay alert and awake. But what happens is our adrenaline and our cortisol hormones get elevated, and we get stimulated. And so the stimulants can be equally as bad in many situations as alcohol. Maybe not necessarily the environment of the people that are around compared to a bar or places where people are drinking, but everyday life, if you get too overstimulated day after day, the half-life of caffeine is about 8 hours. So every time you drink it, it takes 8 hours for half of it to go away. If you're drinking it regularly, once or twice a day, it will creep up and creep up and creep up, and you'll have a higher level of stimulation in that the slightest thing can set you off, trigger you, cause you to overreact and to cause trouble. So again, it's the same situation where you need to control yourself, be under control, not let the environment stimulate and cause you to overreact. And so this is another example of something that might be great on a nice hot day like this to have something nice and cold, or vice versa in the winter to have something nice and hot. But you really got to be careful about caffeine as well. So when it comes to preparedness, both of these are kind of a yin and yang.
So I'm sure some people disagree, but and everyone has their vices, but this is basically a toxin to your body. Your body recognizes it as something foreign and has to detoxify it. And some people can detoxify it better than others just because we have genetic differences. There's a lot of differences among people, and why risk? Why risk that? Why risk impairing any part of your body and predisposing yourself to cancer? Cancer risk, cancer incidence, and many other things come along with alcohol consumption. So accidents, you name it. So everybody just keep a clear mind when you're thinking about self-defense and less lethals and protecting yourselves. The further away you can stay from alcohol, the better, because that's a source, not only a core source of many problems that might put you in a bad situation, but it's also going to impair your judgment and your ability to protect yourself if you were under those conditions. So just another thing to keep in mind, and this is coming to you from my point of view as a person who doesn't drink and as a person who understands the science. And so I welcome any questions about the science or the biology, and let me know. Everybody take care. Till next time.